Today on the Nerdy Gritty, Dell did a survey on PC gamers that might surprise you.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I'm Fox.
I'm Dez.
And I always start it that way.
Yes,
and
I don't know
so
why
sorry.
you do
I
that.
keep saying and
Yeah, I actually have...
You have things to say.
Yeah, I do things like this.
Go
so
ahead.
I am really excited right now, Fox, because I actually kept this from you. Usually you and I have a really bad habit of talking about things before our podcast.
Are you about to reveal to me that you have seen Infinity War?
No, I have not seen Infinity War.
That would have been amazing.
No.
That would have been great improvising before.
That would have been very cool.
But it's not, so go ahead.
So I told you that my wife and I have been on a habit of bad movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We found a fantasy series that is so much fun.
What is it?
It's called Mythica.
Ooh.
Yeah, Mythica.
That just sounds bad.
So, right?
Yeah.
So, Mythica is a kick-started movie series. 5 movies came out in 3 years. Mythica 1 through 5.
Wow.
It's like a 2010 to 2013, I think, is what they are.
Cringing right now already.
It's not bad at all. And not only is it not bad, it's fun. It's well written. It's TV movie quality. Okay. It really is. But
sure. If you're kickstarting, you're not going to be above that.
Right. Here's the best part of it. The best part. Did you ever see, I think we talked about this a while back, the Dungeons & Dragons movie with Jeremy Irons?
I watched it on TV at some point. I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, randomly.
If you were to give that out of 10 stars...
Oh, like a 3?
A 3, oh gosh, maybe. It was bad, right?
Yeah.
As a fan of D&D, how do you feel about it?
Nope.
Exactly,
I feel nope.
Right? I feel no. This should be the D&D movies.
Yeah.
It is so good for that. The dynamics of the 4 main characters are exactly what you'd expect from the dynamics of a D&D party.
Okay.
And and they do the cliches, and they do them on purpose.
Sure.
So there's the really noble, I'm dedicated to my cause healer, and then there's the I've got a dark secret sorceress.
Yeah. And
then there's the hero that's gonna save the day fighter, former guard. Right. And then there's the I'm in it for money and women rogue.
Yeah, rogue guy.
Of course. These 4 characters represented, but they're so represented so well, and the actors do a great job of, again, they're not fantastic actors, but they do a great job of portraying these cliche characters of Dungeons & Dragons.
Yeah.
And they almost kind of know it, clearly know that this is a Dungeons & Dragons
they're probably going to be a little self-aware.
And they play it out great. They say phrases like, we need our healer. Or, you need to be the one to step out in front.
Need heals, please.
Or you're the tank. They don't say that, but they say that you have to be the one that's out in front and things like that. And so, Fox, you or even we need to watch Mythica. My wife and I have been watching them, and they're so good.
I'm down.
We have watched 3 of the 5.
Oh.
Yeah, and we are looking to watch the other 2.
Okay.
We're very excited to do it. They're on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I'll jump on there.
They're free on Amazon Prime. Watch Mythica.
Okay. Speaking of movies we've watched, Infinity War came out this weekend. Now, I'm going to preface this right here because we may or may not be posting this not the Monday. This might be coming out a little later, a week later than before.
Right.
So I'm going to give a quick review because hopefully you'll see it and we'll be able to talk about it at length.
Right.
Because it's a very interesting movie to talk about. There's some things it's not just the movie, it's the whole universe and how it plays out, and it's been building to this, and how did they do. Hopefully we'll talk about that. Maybe we already have last week. I don't know. Anyway, quick review though. Great.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's great.
Good.
Impressive how well they balanced so many characters.
Yeah.
Dozens and dozens of characters. And because there's so many, there's various storylines happening.
Should I see Black Panther before I see Infinity War?
Yes. Because Black Panther's awesome.
Right.
And also, why not? Oh, you haven't seen Black Panther. So if we're trying to you don't have to. I saw it with somebody who hadn't seen it, and they liked it just the same.
Awesome. Cool.
There's no Black Panther's specific things that you aren't told, that you're told that you're like, what the crap are you talking about?
Right.
but it does help.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, it's very impressive how well they edited and just balanced all the different storylines and characters to create something that, even though it's 2 hours and 36 minutes long, it never gets boring. It never gets like, there's no scene that's like, okay, you could cut off like the last 10 minutes of this and been fine. There's nothing like that. Thanos is the most interesting character in the entire thing.
Ooh.
Probably partly because he's just interesting. They do a very good job of like getting you to understand what he's doing, and also a good job. Well, you already know about everybody else, so you already have this knowledge that allows you to not have to like figure out who everybody else is. You can just like, I know who Tony is. I know who Steve Rogers is.
Yeah.
Thanos is this guy though. I can learn about him. So that was really great. Funny, action-filled is really good. Go ahead.
Interrupt you. Let me ask you this, and yes or no will do fine.
Okay.
In the comics, Thanos' motivation is that he fell in love with the Lady Death and is now trying to impress her by destroying worlds, and that way he can woo Death by destroying worlds. Okay.
It is better than that.
Yeah, good.
I was hoping, back when Thor 3 came out, that Hela would be that person. But obviously, you've seen Thor 3. She doesn't really survive.
Right.
As far as we know. No, it's better than that.
Good.
Yes.
Because that's
kind of stupid.
Yeah, that's very comic book.
Yeah, no, it is a great, great movie. I just want to quick throw out some facts here. It made $258 million or $268 million
opening weekend.
Opening weekend, by far the best of all time globally. What do you think? Let's say, I'll tell you, it is the highest global gross of all time.
Wow.
It hasn't even opened in China.
What?
Okay, what do you think before this was the highest? Like the movie, not the number.
I know Warcraft was huge.
It was huge,
China,
but it wasn't the highest.
Biggest.
I don't think you'll guess what the highest was.
Titanic.
Fate of the Furious.
What?
Fast and the Furious 8 was the highest with $541 million globally. That was like...
I'm going to blame Japan for that.
I think that was opening weekend. Might have been total. Infinity War made $640 million in its opening weekend. In 3 days, it made...
That is insane.
Yes, Infinity War means infinity money as well.
Infinity dollars.
They will rule the world as well. I mean, they already have, but yeah. Anyway, it's great. If you haven't seen it, you've seen it. Except for you. You're the only one who hasn't seen it.
The only person on the planet.
Based on those numbers, you are the only one who hasn't seen it.
Pretty much.
It's great. Well worth the watch. All the characters are interesting.
Man, I really want to see it.
Yes, please do. So we can talk about it at length. There are some things. There's definitely one moment where I was just freaking out, and it was pure fan service, but I loved it. I
have been really impressed with the internet, as I am a person who's on the internet every day.
Sure.
And I have seen zero spoilers.
Yeah.
Like, literally not even a quote from the movie.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things in it that... I mean, there's not a lot of, like, twists and turns or, like... There's moments that are more fun to not know about, but there's not a lot of moments that are like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, crazy. There are some, but it's not that kind of movie. There's not a lot of It's not like Star Wars, where there's such a mythos about it, where it's like, who's going to be there? And you already know all the characters. You already know like who's going to be there. And
that makes sense.
Anyway.
Well, just because the internet has this like people on the internet have this like persona of people that want to ruin people's days. Like,
there are those jerks, those
everybody
trolls.
is a troll, and which actually reminds me, it's surprising what people on the internet actually are like.
Sure.
Because we just saw a survey that came out today. The information released today. So it was done by Dell.
It was commissioned by Dell.
Right, commissioned by Dell Alienware, but
ResearchScape, whatever that is.
Right, is an organization that does, research and things like that. But they recently did a survey with 5,763 gamers. Now, to be considered a PC gamers, to be considered a PC gamer in this, this meant that you had to play at least 1 hour of video games a week. So we do want to just stop right there and say that there is, this is a very middle ground. So there is what the community could call hardcore gamers. Sometimes it's kind of a frowned upon, casual to hardcore or whatever.
Sure.
But there is what's called hardcore gamers who are like an hour a week. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's how I did that before work this morning.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I consider myself not able to play video games that much, and I probably play 6 or 7 hours a week.
Right.
And that's not that much for me.
Yeah.
So an hour for those people who really enjoy video games is not that much. But for people who just don't play video games, they're saying you play an hour of video games every week.
Yeah, if somebody doesn't do any, has no interest in something, and somebody plays an hour a week, there's a big difference between those two people. So
this is anybody who plays for at least an hour a week, and there were some pretty shocking statistics, some surprising things on what was considered a gamer and what this community of gamers was like.
Right.
But before we're going to talk about that, to really get the grasp of the shift from what it was to what it is now, Fox and I kind of want to talk about what it was like to be a gamer when we were kids. Now, you're what, 8 years younger than I am?
8 or 9. Yeah,
8 or 9?
Something like that.
Yeah, 8 years younger than I am. So even there's going to be a bit of a separation on exactly what it was like to be a gamer.
My original console was the N64.
Yeah, see, for me, that was my third. I had the Atari.
There you go.
And then that would be my fourth then. I had the Atari, then I had the NES, then I had the Super NES.
There you go.
Then I had a PlayStation and an N64.
Right.
So I also had an NES and a Sega Genesis.
I had to buy the N64 myself. Okay.
So, anyway, so I'll go ahead and start here as the older one.
The wiser sage.
Let me
amongst us.
brush my gray beard out of the way and.
Oh.
So. No, I do vividly remember. I was very young with the Atari 2600, and this system itself, obviously, games like Pitfall, were the games to play, just total basic stuff. But I absolutely remember there being, if you picked up a video game controller, it could suddenly taint you into becoming a nerd.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, immediately you are that stereotype.
Right, and if you owned a console, I bet you just sit inside and play video games all day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And, there was this mindset of a bit of wealth that came with it, because if you were spending $200 on something so nerdy and dumb.
Yeah, and quote unquote unnecessary.
Yeah, entirely unnecessary and silly. That means you must have some extra money just laying around.
Sure.
But that wasn't really the truth at the end of the day.
People had TVs. People what's the...
And so it's funny to me that there was immediately this niche of, first of all, you had to be a nerd to play video games.
Sure.
And if you even knew what a video game was, I mean, people knew who like Mario was.
Yeah.
But
knew that they existed at the very least.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you called him, like if you were like Link, people would say, I don't know who Link is. What is the Legend of Zelda? These things were brand new back then, and people did not know about them. And I also remember within this community, it was all guys. That's another thing. Girls didn't play video games.
Yeah, stereotypically at least. This is all stereotypical.
Of course, yeah. But I will say
more true than
heavy stereotype. Yeah, and girls didn't play video games. It wasn't for them.
Right.
The target demographic was like 12-year-old boys, but within the community, I remember there being so much secrecy to it, both in the games and amongst us. So it wasn't something that we really talked about like publicly at school. Like we would talk about it and we would hang out, and like when we hung out on our own, we would
be all
play.
About it.
Yeah, we'd be all about it, of course. But like if we were at school in a public place, talking about it would be like behind the swings on the during recess. How you doing in Zelda? And no, it wouldn't even be like let's talk about. It would be like, have you passed that level yet? How'd you do it? Or like Castlevania. Castlevania is a game that's just rife with secrets. The original Castlevania, and it was like, dude, did you figure this out? I had to call the Nintendo hotline, you know, because we didn't have internet back then, so it was all hotlines.
To call Nintendo itself.
Call hotlines. Or Nintendo Power had secrets in it. Like, and
it
would literally be, Nintendo Power would literally come out with things like, are you struggling to get past this part? Here's how to do it. Like, there would be an article that's a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for me, I remember growing up with gaming being exclusively young men, and that's about it. If you were somebody that was over the age of like 20 and played video games, you were seen as somebody who was wasting your life, and what are you doing with that garbage?
And of course you were.
Yes, absolutely.
We all know that's true.
That? Or if you were a girl, you would be seen as tomboyish, or you would be, seen as, oh, she needs to be doing more feminine things and stuff like that. And that's just kind of how I grew up with video games. Obviously, culture has changed and shifted over time.
Sure.
But originally, when I was heavily into video games, playing Mega Man 3, Legend of Zelda, things like that, that's what it was like. What about you? N64 era, talk to me about when you were a kid.
Oh, yeah, it was weird to me that you wouldn't, really just, I remember just talking about video games a lot at school.
Man,
there was a game...
we get made fun of.
There was a game called Goemon's Great Adventure on the N64, which was basically an anime game that kind of ripped off DBZ a lot. You literally would power up and your hair would get all spiky and yellow. But I remember talking about it a lot with a friend of mine. We'd have, when friends would come over, we'd definitely play a lot with friends and stuff. The guy to girl ratio was still probably close as far as I knew. I don't remember any female friends that played or would talk about video games. But yeah, it was definitely less secret. We'd talk about them all the time at school. That wasn't a problem. I'd say the stereotype was still there, though, that it was a younger audience. Yeah. N64 was, I think, still marketed toward younger people, probably just out of habit from other games. But of course, at that time, the industry is 8 years older than it was when you were playing, and so you have people playing video games who are 8 years older than they were before. And so the target audience might be younger, but I think the actual audience was definitely older. It would have to be statistically. It was becoming more acceptable as it was proving itself to not be a fad anymore. When something has been going, I probably started playing in 1998, 1999. I think that's, because I got it when we moved to Arizona. So at that point, it's been 16 years-ish since, something like that, since video games took root and actually became a thing that were marketed in stores and not just shareware for your Apple II computer that and since something that lasts that long and only gets bigger is not a fad anymore. So I think people were willing to accept it as a thing, but still trying to minimize it as you're a kid if you play those, or if you're not a kid, you have some kind of social problem. Yeah, you should be doing something more with your life. But yeah, it was definitely. As far as I remember, I never had a problem, or we never had problems talking about it at school. It was a pretty.
So I do remember, and now, you were in elementary school at that time, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so for you were a kid, and it was acceptable for you.
I was an actual child, 4th or 5th grade.
I was in high school at that time. In fact, I was a sophomore going into my junior year, 98, 99. No, freshman going into my sophomore year, 98, 99. But I remember at this time that it was more acceptable to say that I play video games. But even then, there were types of video games that had, if I said I play Final Fantasy, I was a nerd.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
that Japanese game with all the numbers.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But at that time, Conker's Bad Fur Day was coming out.
It's so funny to look back and see that game as the mature audience game.
I know.
Really, this is basically South Park. This is a child's game.
It was clearly made for 15-years-olds whose parents would buy them that game.
Parents didn't care.
Right. It was not made for 18-year-olds.
It was...
Yeah.
It's like how Pokemon games are now marketed toward younger, but it's really the older crowd gets into Pokemon far more.
Yeah. So Conker's Bad Fur Day, if you played games like that or like 007 GoldenEye was still pretty cool at that time.
100%. The movie was awesome. So
that was one of the games that like kind of began like, oh, it's cool to play GoldenEye.
Right.
But I played a lot of JRPGs. I played. Nerd. I know, right? Ocarina of Time even was on that like middle ground.
Yeah, it's all fantasy and you got a flute. What the crap are you doing in this game? Who do I shoot?
So, did you play much PC games at that time?
No. I remember getting a PC that could play games like probably junior high school. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I had lots of games that I'd play everyone. Like I can't remember what they were. I played games on PC, but the one I really remember trying to play on PC first was Oblivion. And I couldn't get it for like a year after because it was expensive and I didn't have money. And my mom saw that they had re-rated it to an M. It was released as a T, but because of fan mods, they re-rated it, which is terrible. And so I had to convince her. And then I had to play it at the lowest specs possible to be able to actually play it. But yeah, this time, no, I was mainly PlayStation 2 and 64. That was my like golden age of like young video games. No, I was not much of a PC gamer. Definitely not as much as I am now, though.
So my age, console gaming was one of the things that kind of like the bridges that gapped the nerd to not as nerdy.
Something that's not specifically for gaming to play. Like, you can buy a computer not just to play games. If you were playing games, if you were buying a console, you're literally just getting it to play video games.
Right.
Yeah, you are more nerdy.
No.
Is that what you're not trying to say?
No, I'm saying it's the other way around.
That's what I was thinking.
No, for me, console games had like a lot more... they were for kids, and so if you were younger playing console games, but people didn't think like a kid didn't own a computer, an adult owned a computer.
Sure.
So if you're playing a computer game, oh come on, man! Like
you're
like
an adult, your act together.
And you're playing that.
Okay,
computer. And so there was definitely that persona, and so there were games like Myst, Duke Nukem.
That's for adults.
Doom. You know, these were these were games that were grown up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's true. Violent and.
Yeah.
Myst was not, but it was cerebral.
Very cerebral.
That one I'd agree with. Like,
and so these games were games that extremely nerdy. Like for at least my age group, I remember like, okay, you're 12 and you're playing the Nintendo 64. Sure, that makes sense.
Right.
You could be doing more productive things like playing baseball or going outside or whatever, or watching 6 hours of television or whatever, you know, something more productive. But if you're sitting in front of a computer playing video games, like, no, grow up, stop that, you know. And so now we have this whole thing with PC gamers, and there's kind of a stigma on there on what a PC gamer is
nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You have the PC master race.
Absolutely.
If you're playing a lowly console, your FPS is stuck at 30 and you're a peasant. But yeah, there's definitely a stigma around PC gamers nowadays.
So I would even say that maybe the idea that they're nerds isn't there, but the idea is that they are self-proclaimed elite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I would even it's a computer's more like dedicated to certain specs. If you don't have the right equipment, you just go buy a PS4. But if you want a real computer, you got to like get certain parts. You got to, put it together yourself. You're trying to min-max your settings and all these stats and stuff. So I'd say there's part of that in there.
Right.
You're not a mouth-breathing, like, dumb person who just bought a PS4 you don't care about. Like I am.
So let's talk for a little bit here about some of these like ideas and these stigmas of what a PC gamer is among the gaming community. And again, what Fox and I will talk about are probably much more, again, the colloquial phrase, hardcore gaming community.
Yes.
And then this does not apply to all PC gamers, of course. But then we'll go into what this survey had to say, some of the statistics that they said. But first and foremost, for me, if PC gamers, immediately I just think shooters. Like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but because I know there are plenty of like real heavy, like The Witcher and like some real heavy RPGs and whatnot. But to me, The Witcher does not have to be a a PC experience. Like, to me,
The Witcher 3 doesn't. The Witcher and
Well,
Witcher 2 have to.
they literally have to. But my point is that if you're playing a shooter, you, like, scientifically, statistically, get better results with a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, you've got faster Twitch gaming. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, much better accuracy, hand-eye coordination, all that other stuff.
For me, PC gaming is Overwatch and Fortnite and PUBG. Those, like, multiplayer, just kind of those stereotyp, like, I don't know why they're stereotypical to me, like those things that even though you can play them on consoles, you can play PUBG on Xbox and you can play Fortnite. I don't know, maybe you can play, I don't know, I haven't paid that much attention. Overwatch is on PS4 at least,
and Xbox One.
is it okay? Yeah, like, to me, those are the games that people get, like, to me that's what a hardcore gamer is, the one that, like, I don't care about what game it is or really your time commitment. It's more of a, like, multiplayer, ongoing, like, there's leagues, there's, that's like when it's part of your, like, it's more than just a hobby. It's something that if you feel like a lot of people, like, Rocket League, I would say, is hardcore also, even though it's real simple and real, like, 5-minute match, you're just blowing up and it's real fun. These are games where people, like, can't stop, or they will drop in the ranks and they won't be able to play against certain, like, it's kind of it's more than just I dedicate time. It's like I have to.
It's almost like a job, yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Like World of Warcraft, like a lot of MMOs are like this too.
Yeah,
where
absolutely.
It can't be that casual if you want to stay competitive or, that kind of stuff.
I would also say that a lot of PC gaming, particularly the online, and I know this is not just PC, console gaming has this in spades, but because, like, large party online gaming is more common on PC, I relate this to PC more than I relate it to consoles, but toxic communities.
Okay.
And just, if you try and play Overwatch, which is originally just a PC game, and you're not very good at it, people are going to be toxic to you. If you try and play League of Legends or Battleborn,
a good one, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just
good example.
There are games that are known for their toxic communities.
Sure, yeah, that's not really something I mean, that's just gaming to me. Like,
right.
No matter, anytime you can talk to somebody, there's going to be somebody who's terrible.
And there's just a lot more single player experience or even couch co-op experience for console gaming that I know. And and I actually proactively seek that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to listen to people if I don't know who they are. Exactly.
And so, do you have anything to say on, like, kind of what you consider to be a PC gamer? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, PC gaming is pretty diverse. Like, it's kind of in its own realm as far as like what you can do on a PC for gaming, because most games, they'll even call it an exclusive to the PS4 if it comes out on PS4.
Right.
So, like, I feel like the PC gaming community is going to be a lot more diverse because it has most of the games that are on console and a butt ton of games that are not on console. Like, Steam has hundreds of thousands, I don't know, maybe not, tens of thousands at least.
A metric butt ton or a standard butt ton?
A metric butt ton, which is 2,000 pounds plus your mom.
Ha!
Gotcha. No, so that's my theory, is that it would have to be a lot more diverse on the PC just because of what can be done, and because most people own a computer, whereas not most people own a PS4 or less,
That's actually a really good point, that these days owning a computer is almost mandatory for home.
You kind of have to, like, just for life.
When I was a kid,
access to the internet is necessary.
When I was a kid, we didn't have a computer, so I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
And even then, we were one of the few houses.
Yeah, that's pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's take a look at these things. Again, this is just under 6,000 people.
Which is not a bad sample size.
It's a great sample size. 11 countries.
Pretty diverse, too. There's Japan and, all the biggest.
Yeah, so it's like Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany. That looks like Mexico. New Zealand, or no, maybe that's India.
I don't know.
But Japan, the United States, and Great Britain.
Maybe it's Korea. I don't know.
Whatever it is.
Go look it up. We'll put a link in.
Yeah, we're going to put the link in there.
I don't know my flags that well.
So here are the statistics. And again, in at least an hour per week.
Yes.
The gaming community is accepting of others. I was actually shocked at that one right off the bat. 40% of people surveyed said that they judge their opponents and partners on skill alone, versus only 8% said that they include ethnicity in this, 7% said that they include political views, and 6% said that they include sexual orientation.
Okay.
So gamers are not shy about sharing their love of gaming. 27% introduced 3 or 4 people, whereas another 25% introduced 5 or more people to gaming.
5 or more.
Right. So going around being like, I play this game, you really should check it out.
Yeah.
And whether or not that person kept gaming, they have introduced it to them.
Just introducing, not necessarily getting them.
The whole idea is they are not shy about it. They're saying, I am a gamer. I love this game.
I'll talk about it.
You should try this. Right. So being called a gamer is perceived as positive. So of those surveys, 29% that if they were called a gamer, that'd be very cool. 35% they thought it'd be fun to be called a gamer.
Okay.
And 26% would be excited if they were called a gamer. So just saying that, yeah, this is awesome. I love being called a gamer. Gamers report increased skills. 42% said that they are more tech savvy. 39% said that they are more strategic thinkers. 37% said that they have improved hand-eye coordination. 36% said that they have better reaction time. 27% said that they have better teamwork skills. And 18% said that they have better leadership skills. The infographic is really small.
It's very small, and when you click on it, it just
just centers it.
It's the same size.
Yes.
0 out of 10 website.
Right. Today's gamers love to game, but are also well-rounded and active too. This was another one that I was pretty surprised at. So gamers, 60% of them, 63% of them said that they are also passionate about music. 59% of them said that they also are interested in their family and spending time with their family. 55% said that they're interested in spending time with their friends. 50% said they're interested in traveling, and 45% said they're interested in reading and writing. So that's the majority in all of these, other than reading and rioting. That's the reading and rioting.
Ooh, yeah, that's a fun one.
Reading and writing. That's the majority on all of these of people who said, yes, I love to play video games, but I also want to spend time with my family, you know?
Well, that's good.
I mean,
I'm
but
glad.
That's different. I remember being a kid that was like, if I could just have less family time and get to play 12 hours of video games a day, choice.
Done. Totally rad, 80s Steve.
That's yes, that was very appropriate.
Yep.
So willing to give up a lot. 28% said that they're willing to give up meals. 23% that they're willing to give up their favorite TV show, and 23% said that they're willing to give up social media.
Yeah,
I'm really getting in on my computer here.
Yeah,
to
you
read
are.
these.
You are getting cozy, intimate with that computer.
Here's one that was shocking to me. Enjoy breaking a sweat to stay fit.
Yes.
So the 46% of the gamers in Brazil said that they also exercise. 46% of the gamers in China.
Over in their Chiners.
In China say that they exercise, and 41% of gamers in India say that they exercise.
Now, conspicuously absent is every
America.
other country, including America. I really wish they would put all the stats and not just the seemingly positive ones. That's a little disappointing. But yeah.
Players they know their priorities. Only 27% are willing to say that they're willing to give up eating. We already went over that one. And only 37% are saying they're willing to give up sleeping. So, I mean, that's only,
and I also feel like those are kind of skewed in the wording. Like, saying you're giving up eating to play video games is much different than, I'm not that hungry, I'm going to keep playing.
Right.
Or, I'll stay up a little later and keep playing. Like, that's a pretty big difference between giving up eating and sleeping.
I think that my guess is that on this survey, it just said, would you be willing to give up sleep?
Yeah, I do wish we had some more info about what exactly they were saying to people.
Right.
But, yeah.
And finally, they're unlikely to sacrifice social events.
Yeah, this one's the big one to me.
So only 23% said they're willing to skip holiday celebrations to play video games. Only 21% say they're willing to skip a friend celebration. Only 18% say they're willing to skip a family birthday. And only 18% say they're willing to skip a professional sporting event. So, these are the statistics that they have here, at least that they've listed. All in all, there are a lot of surprises in here. Now, we have said a lot that this is at least an hour, but this is at least an hour.
Yes.
In America, in Japan, in Canada, in Brazil, in a lot of these countries, this also includes the guys who put in 80, that 100
are
hours.
Constantly playing, yes.
So this includes these people. Fox, what would you say is the biggest surprise to you among these statistics?
Well, I'm going to first say that I really wish we had more info on what exactly was said, because I feel like there's some bias here. This is a Dell Alienware survey, meaning they're very obviously not including some things like other countries and their fitness, or,
Right.
I want to know what...
America's into fitness. Fitness whole pizza in my mouth.
There you go. Oh, she's unhinging her jaw. I want to know what they like. Did somebody ask them? Professional sporting event. Are you
want to watch me shotgun this? Oh, she means the pizza.
Okay, the professional sporting event. Did somebody just ask? Would you be willing to give up your tickets to a professional sporting event to play video games? Or did they say, hey, you can go to the Super Bowl or you can play video games? What are you gonna do? Right. Look, it could be either one. We just don't know. And even then, skip, does skip mean you're not going to go to it, or you're not going to watch it? You're going to choose not to go. You're going to, not be able to, I really
Because, if it's on TV,
yes.
I would be much more willing to skip
100%.
than going to
I didn't even
a
watch
game.
it last year at all. That's what I would want more from this. I feel like that would be more interesting to see.
Right.
Because some of these stats would still be really cool. If we just had more info about them. But yeah, the surprising thing to me would be probably, let me look at these real quick.
Well, I'll start then. For me, one of the ones is how many people are willing to introduce their love for gaming to other people. Especially in PC gaming, if we take into account, there's actually a little video as well. They take into account, a lot of these people are gym rats that love to game.
Okay.
A lot of these people are moms of kids that love to game.
Right.
And that some of the people in the survey are people that are moms that are going to go to other moms and say, you know what I really helps me relax? Maybe it's Bejeweled.
Yeah.
Maybe it's The Sims or whatever. But that's fine. There's nothing wrong. That's a game
that's
still.
something we have to get past, the whole hardcore casual gamer thing.
Right.
It's a stupid distinction that we just make to make ourselves feel better than somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, if you can sit down with somebody and they love a video game and they tell you, these are the strategies I like to use, this is why I love it, this is the design of the game that I enjoy, and it happens to be a match 3 game, who cares?
Yeah, that's the question you if somebody does that and you want to be like me or us who just want to get rid of that stereotype, ask them why that person's casual.
Yeah.
Why? Is it just because that game? Why that game? Just ask them why.
Why is that a casual game?
Give us hardcore actual examples of why somebody is a casual, and they'll probably struggle.
Right.
Just because they don't play Overwatch.
Yeah,
doesn't.
My mother-in-law has probably put in hundreds of hours into Bejeweled over the years, of course.
Yeah.
But how much hours do you put into an average game? You know what I mean?
Does that switch back and forth too? Because I've put over 200 hours into Gems of War, which is basically a match 3, and I've put hundreds of hours into Skyrim. So am I casual when I'm playing one game or the other? That's we're getting off topic here. We could talk about this more in another day, but
that's kind of my point here is that by this kind of thought process and definition, somebody who really loves the design and the enjoyment of it and they play a lot of it, my mother-in-law would be a hardcore gamer.
100%.
By a lot of definitions, you know what I mean? And I'm certain that she has gone to people, she's told me about how much she enjoys Bejeweled. And she has, we have these conversations before, and other matches, she plays Candy Crush and things like that. And so there are a lot of, moms that are in their 50s and 60s
Yes.
that are grandmothers in this case, actually.
Right, absolutely.
That are like, hey, I play this video game and that I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that's super cool. And especially to introduce to people who maybe don't play video games.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a really cool thing to see.
Even myself, who I have no problem talking about things that might be considered not like childish, like video games.
Right.
Even myself, like I know that if I'm just in a random group of friends that may or may not play video games, bringing up a movie I just watched is like more appealing to me than bringing up a game I just played, because I just figure people don't play video games like I do, that people watch, like, and so like I have no problem sharing, but even like I tend to not when I know that there's something else that people might be more interested in. So
Right.
that's really cool to see. I think I think one of the more shocking, maybe not shocking, but interesting ones to me is being called a gamer is perceived as positive. Like, because to me, I love video games. I exalt them as a art form and a storytelling medium. Like, I think they are just as important as the as film or music, like as far as being able to express the human experience. But I don't like the term gamer. And I know that there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's somebody who plays games.
Right.
It's a gamer. But to me, it does feel like it's a childish thing. You don't have somebody who's like a filmer or like, it's just kind of, it doesn't have you have a musician or you have a cinephile. Like you have these other words that feel more like real. And I really wish there was an analog for video games, like a gameophile. I don't know. That also sounds weird.
Yeah,
but I think it comes.
I don't know why.
I think it comes from the idea that a game, to me, has the stereotype about it. Just playing a game, even though games are like an integral part of life for all of us.
Right.
In any form of game, board games, or just like games that help us learn when we're in school, like those kind of things. Gamification is huge and is used everywhere, even if they don't know they're doing it.
Right.
So I'm kind of surprised because I don't consider the word gamer a like cool, positive, fun term. To if somebody calls me a gamer, I feel like I kind of feel defined a little bit. You're a gamer, even if they mean it in a positive way. Like, yes, I do enjoy the art form of video games. Like I feel the need to come back to them and be like, yes, I love forms of art. Like, that kind of thing. Not necessary. That's all me. So that one I had the most pushback on. Like, no, I don't know about that.
I also like to see just how important these other things were to them, like music and family and friends and whatnot. Sure. Because there is this perception, and when I was growing up, this was true in a lot of ways, and especially with issues like gaming compulsion and whatnot. There is this whole mindset of gamers game. And that's all they do, and it can overwhelm them and consume them, and it can become an addiction to them. And while that's true, that is definitely true. At the same time, for the majority of gamers, as we see here,
right,
it's not an issue.
Sure.
The majority of gamers still want to spend time with their family and friends. I love spending time with my family and friends. You know what I mean? That's why I only get to play 6 or 7 hours of games a week.
Although the best time is when you can combine the two. Whenever my wife gets interested in a game I'm playing, it's the best thing in the world. Both because I get to play that game more, and she actually gets to like have fun and experience that game. Happens rarely, but
I know
it's fun.
Finding that quality game.
Yeah.
Well, Fox, anything else you want to say about these last this survey and things that kind of stand out to you?
Nothing about the actual stats. I do wish we had some more information from them, because I feel like it would just be more positive. I would like a little bit more, but I do really appreciate this fact because it is like it's even something who I am a gamer. I have a stereotype about who gamers are.
Right.
I do. And in the logical part of my brain, I know that games have been around for 40 years now, which means the people playing them are not all 9-year-olds.
Right.
But part of me is just like, and I myself am not a 9-year-old, so it's really stupid of me. So I really love when this kind of stuff, like, it's just facts. Here you go.
To me, it gives me hope for the future because even more so, especially the one that says skill, 40% judge their opponents on skill.
Right, which is That's fine.
ethnicity or whatever else. Like, that's good. That's how you should judge people on things. You should not
you're playing a
condemn them for things.
Sure.
I'm looking at you, League of Legends. But you should, like, say that person is either good or not good at this game because of how they're playing the game. Not, you're a girl, so you obviously suck, or that girl killed me, and so she's using cheats or whatnot.
Hacks.
Right.
You're from China, you're a hacker.
Right, exactly. So I hope that, I know that is kind of a plague in gaming right now.
Yes.
And it still is.
Oh, it is. And as long as anonymity exists, it will always happen.
I hope that it becomes less normal in the future,
Yes.
though, and that this trend continues and that it hits like 90%.
Start shaming people.
Exactly.
Do it.
Yeah. And just maybe
Call
not
them out.
shaming them, but definitely call them out.
Call them out, block them, like unfriend them if you're friends with them.
Or if you're hosting the game, boot them.
Boot them. Yeah,
You know
100%.
what I mean?
And they can't say anything to you after that anyway, so who you care?
Yeah.
Who you care?
And so just to have more and more people that are judging each other on their skill and encouraging each other and accepting one another in this really awesome medium of games.
This is how we get these stats to get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are the people, like, we can't separate ourselves from participation in these stats.
Yep.
Because we are the ones who drive them.
Yep. Well, guys, let us know what you think about this. We're going to link the article into the
description.
The description of the video. Yep. So you can go ahead and read this, check out the stats. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for your support. And remember, saved games, save lives.
See you later, guys.